So today we are going to learn about Venus.
Venus. Beauty can be only
Only skin
skin deep.
deep. The second planet from the sun is named after the Roman goddess of love and beauty.
If you ever spot it in the morning or evening sky, if you're lucky to have a telescope, you'll understand why it got that name. But if you were unfortunate enough to end up on its surface, you'd quickly realize it is not a pleasant place at all.
Venus has an atmosphere that's mostly made up of sulfuric acid clouds and the temperature remains a scorching 900 degrees Fahrenheit.
The surface is constantly battered by winds blowing at hundreds of miles per hour.
The atmospheric pressure on Venus is similar to that found deep in the ocean, about half a mile down. It's an incredibly dangerous place, and the two spacecraft that dared to land there barely lasted long enough to send back a few pictures before they were crushed and melted by extreme conditions.
So this is Venus, as you can see, the second planet from the sun. These are some successful missions to Venus.
Mariner 2, the first successful Venus flyby in 1962.
Venera 4, an atmosphere probe in 1967.
Venera 7, the first successful Venus landing in 1970.
Venera 8, a Venus lander in 1972.
Pioneer Venus, a NASA mission sent in 1978.
Venera 15 and 16, Soviet Union missions in 1983 to 1984.
Magellan, a NASA radar mapping mission in 1990 to 1994.
Venus Express, the European Space Agency's orbiter from 2006 until 2016.
Akatsuki Venus Climate Orbiter, Japan's orbiter since 2016.
Parker Solar Probe, NASA's multiple flybys, etc.
Other missions to the Venus include orbiters, Veneras 11 to 15, Pioneer and Magellan.
Entry probes, Venera 4, 5, 6, and Pioneer,
Three
Venus,
small
small
probe
probes,
and
and
one.
one large probe.
Landers, Venera 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14.
Balloons, Vega 1 and Vega 2. The morning and evening star.
When Venus is visible, it's one of the brightest things in the night sky, only second to the moon. It's so bright that sometimes people make it for a UFO or an airplane light until they realize it's not moving.
If you have a telescope, you might be lucky enough to see what Galileo discovered. Venus goes through phases just like our moon.
I remember the first time I saw Venus through a telescope, and for a moment I thought I was looking at the moon.
This is because Venus is closer to the Sun than Earth. Our view of it and its phases change depending upon the positions of the Earth, Venus, and the Sun.
The mythology of Venus.
Venus was named for the Roman goddess of love and beauty.
The equivalent goddess in Greek mythology is Aphrodite.
Venus is the only one of the planets in our solar system that is named for a goddess instead of a god, and almost all of the features we have discovered in our exploration of this planet have been named for either historical or mythological women.
Throughout history, many famous artists have chosen Venus or Aphrodite as the subject of a painting or statue when they are trying to represent the ultimate in human beauty. Fortunately,
They didn't know what the planet was really like, or the paintings would have been very different.
one strange day,
Venus is a very odd place for a number of reasons, not the least of which is the fact that it rotates in the opposite direction that Earth does.
Venus rotates from east to west, while Earth and most of the other planets rotate from west to east.
That's just the beginning, though, as a day on Venus, which is the time it takes for the planet to rotate once around completely, is 243 Earth days, which is actually longer than a Venusian year, which is 225 Earth days long.
If you are standing on the surface of Venus and the sulfuric acid clouds were gone, the sun would appear to move from west to east as the day progressed.
Even though Venus takes 243 Earth days to rotate once around, the time it would take for the Sun to reappear in the same place in the sky is only 117 days. Whether you count the day as being either 243 or 117 Earth days long, it would be a long wait for lunch.
A hot and violent world.
Venus is an example of the greenhouse effect on a planetary scale. The surface of the planet is covered with a thick blanket of clouds made up of mostly sulfuric acid. This cloud blanket keeps the temperature of the planet hot enough to melt lead, and the atmospheric pressure on the surface is almost 90 times as great as it is here on Earth.
This combination of tremendous atmospheric pressure and extremely high surface temperature have spelled doom for the only two spacecraft to actually land on the surface. The Russian Venera missions both managed to survive on the surface for only about 90 minutes before crushed and melted by an inhospitable planet.
In addition to the violent winds and poisonous atmosphere on Venus, there are still active volcanoes on Venus, and their eruptions continue to add poisonous chemicals to atmosphere and tremendous amounts of lava to the surface.
The Magellan mission to the Venus and many others that preceded it has sent back radar maps showing us that Venus is a very strange place with mountains, volcanoes, and lava plains all combining to create a landscape worthy of any science fiction movie. So
So this
this
is
is
the
the surface
surface
of
of
Venus.
Venus.
It is the Venera spacecraft
When our spacecraft took this photo.
took this photo on the surface of Venus.
An
And
important way station on the journey to space.
although Venus has been visited by several spacecrafts, most of them have been on the way to someplace else. Kind of like what happens when you go on vacation and make stop along the way. The picture of Venus at right taken by the Galileo spacecraft is a good example of this.
The reason that so many spacecraft have flown by Venus on their way to somewhere else is a technique called gravity assist. A journey from Earth to any of the outer planets of the solar system, such as Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and dwarf planet Pluto, is so long that it is practically impossible to make rocket engines large enough to make the entire journey. Scientists figure out that they could use the gravity of one or more planets to help make the trip. Using careful calculation, scientists are able to make the spacecraft fly
Close enough to Venus or other planets that the planet's gravity acts as a slingshot to help power the remainder of the journey. It's not like when you ride your bicycle down on one side of a hill and then up the other side. The downhill helps you get a running start on the uphill side.
This is a photo of Venus without its clouds.
Scientists used radar maps sent back by the Magellan spacecraft to create this image of what Venus looked like without its cloud cover.
Venus from Mariner 10.
During its journey to Mercury, the Mariner 10 spacecraft took this.
Picture of Venus.
The deadly surface of Venus.
The Russian Venera spacecraft landed on the surface of Venus. During the few minutes it managed to survive before being melted and crushed, it managed to send back the two images above. Here are some interesting facts about Venus.
Venus has a hostile environment with rocky terrain, volcanoes, and a dense atmosphere.
Venus is the hottest planet in our solar system apart from the Sun.
Venus' atmospheric pressure is 92 times stronger than the Earth's.
Venus' day is 243 Earth days, which is longer than its year 225 Earth days.
Venus' atmospheric pressure is equivalent to being around 1000 kilometers under Earth's oceans.
Venus' surface has more than 900 craters.
Venus' atmosphere is mostly carbon dioxide with clouds composed of sulfuric acid.
Venus's brightness is between minus 3.8 and minus 4.8 magnitude, which makes it brighter than the stars in the sky.
Venus was the first planet to have its motions plotted across the sky as early as the second millennium.
Venus might once have been an have be a
Habitable ocean.
habitable ocean world like Earth.
Venus's atmosphere is composed of more than 96% carbon dioxide and 3% molecular nitrogen.
Venus's clouds are composed of sulfuric acid. Thank you
Thank you
guys and
guys.
bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Bye bye. Thank you guys and 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 bye bye.
Hello friends, chai pee lo.